With the recent announcements of the D4 and the D800, I know that some of you and I have been doing a lot of thinking and speculation about what a possible Nikon D400 would be able to do. Well, I jotted down some notes today about what I would want from a D400. As a guide, I used the specifications for the D3S, and what might be surprising to some of you is that I also used the specs from my V1 here. Now let's talk megapixels first. I don't care. And DX is fine. So we will call my D400 24 megapixels on a DX sensor. I want the autofocus performance of my V1, which can lock on a target and track it around the frame. And I want this tracking to be based on the color and 3D information. I want full-time phase and contrast detect like my V1. Now, you might be asking, how would they do that with a mirror? I don't really care. Ditch the mirror if you need to. Well, okay, so that would mean that I would lose my optical viewfinder. But you know what? The electronic viewfinder on this V1 here is big and bright and fast. So I don't know if it'd be that much of a loss. I want everything that I already have on my D300S, in addition to everything that I've mentioned so far. All of the autofocus modes, the flash modes, the metering modes, the white balance settings, 2 card slots, and everything else that makes the D300S great. I want 10 frames per second with all 24 megapixels. You know, my V1 can push 60 frames per second at 10 megapixels. So I feel like Nikon can figure out 10 frames per second. You know what? I think I want 30 frames per second too in an electronic shutter mode, because this is my wish list after all. I want high ISO performance that has never been seen with a DX sensor before. I want 1080p video that is as crisp and sharp as the video from my V1. I want a sealed body that I can take into less than ideal conditions. And I want an optional grip that can take these big batteries here. Now, back to that mirrorless stuff I was talking about earlier. I think that would turn a lot of people off. So I don't think Nikon would go there, but if you have used the V1, you know that there are definitely some benefits to it. Also, I think without something disruptive like that, a D400 runs the risk of being a small update to the D300S. I mean, I would love to have more pixels, but I'm actually very happy with the quality delivered by the D300S. Also, I'd love 10 frames per second, but that still would not be enough for me to make the difference. I am looking for something disruptive that really comes out of nowhere and brings this category to the next level. For the D4, this is the amazing video capabilities versus its predecessors. And for the D800, it is the huge step up to a 36 megapixel sensor and the offering of the E model with no anti-aliasing filter. So, in my opinion, the D400 will need something that takes it over the top. Something more than megapixels, frames per second, and crisp high ISO performance. If they can bring some of the mirrorless advantages to their mid-level DSLRs, maybe that's something. Now, my question is, do you think there is a D400 coming? And if so, what will it take to take the market by storm?